Good morning, students. Welcome to chemistry class. This is Vivian Raju presenting the today's lesson. Today's topics are the dual nature of matter and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. In the previous classes, we discussed the limitations of Bohr's theory. Though Bohr's theory of atom successfully explained the drawbacks of Rutherford's atomic model, like the formation of line spectrum and the stability of atom, it has some defects or some limitations. It could not explain the spectra and energy of atoms containing more than one electron. It is limited to the single electron species like hydrogen and hydrogen-like species He plus, Li2 plus, etc. And the Bohr's model of atom could not account for the fine spectrum of atom. When the atomic spectrum is taken with a high resolution spectroscope, the more number of lines are observed than expected in the spectrum. That is, each line in the spectrum taken by the low resolution spectroscope is split into several lines. This spectrum is known as fine spectrum. The formation of these too many lines, that is splitting of lines, could not be explained by Bohr's theory. Bohr's theory could not explain the Zeeman's effect and Stark's effect. The Zeeman effect is the splitting of spectral lines when spectrum is taken by keeping the subject or keeping the substance in the presence of magnetic field, and the splitting of spectral lines by keeping the substance in electric field is known as Stark effect. The Bohr's model of atom could not account for the Zeeman's effect and Stark effect. Bohr's model of atom could not explain the relative brightnesses of spectral lines. Why some lines are more brighter than the other lines could not be explained by Bohr's theory. And another drawback is the quantization of angular momentum of electron. Bohr suggested that the angular momentum of electron is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi, but he could not account why the angular momentum of an electron is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. He could not account for that one. Another drawback is the combination of atoms. That is, though the atoms are stable, most of the elements exist in the form of molecules only. Why the atoms are combining together to form molecules and how the atoms are combining to form the molecules could not be explained by Niels Bohr. And one more limitation of Bohr's theory is the wave nature of electron. So far, the Bohr considered the electron as a particle, but in the year 1924, a scientist de Broglie proposed that, and he found that electron possesses a wave nature also along with the particle nature. That is, just like the light, the electron also possesses a dual nature. This dual nature of electron could not be accounted by the Bohr's theory. And one more drawback is uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Werner Heisenberg proposed his uncertainty principle in the year 1927. According to Heisenberg also, electron behaves as a wave, and the limitation of finding of the position and momentum of a particle precisely and simultaneously was first found by Heisenberg. And these phenomena or these concepts, that is wave nature of electron and the uncertainty of finding the position and electron simultaneously, could not be explained by Bohr's theory. So before going into a new model of atom, let us know the de Broglie's wave nature of electron and uncertainty principle. Dual nature of matter. De Broglie's equation. By the beginning of 20th century, it became clear that light exhibits the dual character, that is, light behaves as a particle, as a wave. We already discussed in the previous classes. Some of the properties of light were successfully explained by the particle nature of light, and some of the properties of light were explained on the basis of wave nature of light only. So in order to explain all the characteristic properties possessed by the light, it is to be considered to have both the particle nature as well as the wave nature. The initial studies have shown that electron also behaved like particle. Electron diffraction experiments indicated that electrons possess wave nature also. Diffraction is the phenomenon exhibited by the waves. Diffraction is nothing but the bending of waves when an obstacle is kept in the path of the wave. That wave nature was exhibited by light. In the same way, the wave nature was exhibited by electrons also. And further experiments have shown that not only the electrons, the other microscopic particles like protons, neutrons and hydrogen atoms also have shown the wave nature. In the year 1924, Louis de Broglie, a French physicist, suggested that matter particles in motion should also show the wave character. Particles show the wave character. He proposed the name matter waves for the waves produced by moving particles. The waves produced are named as matter waves. The matter waves are different from the mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. Mechanical waves is a way of transfer of energy from one place to the other place when a disturbance is caused in an elastic medium, whereas electromagnetic radiations is the transfer of energy from one place to another place in the form of varying fields of electricity and magnetism. We studied the properties of mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves in the previous classes. But the matter waves are different. That means all the moving particles exhibit this wave nature. That means they do not move in straight lines and they possess some wave nature, that is up and down movements were exhibited by the particles moving. But this kind of wave nature is observed only in the microscopic particles. Though the wave nature is exhibited by the macroscopic particles, the wavelength of these particles is very small. Because of that, the wave nature is negligible in the case of macroscopic particles. But it cannot be neglected in the case of microscopic particles like electrons, protons, neutrons, and the atoms like hydrogen. De Broglie derived an equation to find the wavelength of these matter waves. From the particle nature of light, according to Einstein, the energy and mass of matter are related through the relationship E is equal to mc square. Einstein considered that light is considered to be made of particles. Light possesses particle nature. From the particle nature of matter, we can write E is equal to mc square. E is equal to mc square is the theory of relativity. Energy can be converted into mass and mass can be converted into energy according to this theory of relativity, where c is the velocity of light. If the light is considered as a particle, its energy is equal to mc square, where m is the mass of the particle of light and c is the velocity of light. If the wave nature of light is considered according to Max Planck, for a photon, E is equal to h nu. According to Einstein, E is equal to mc square. According to Max Planck, E is equal to h nu. Einstein considered that light is made up of particles, whereas Max Planck considered that light is made up of particles but propagates in the form of waves. The energy depends upon the frequency. The energy of the photon depends upon the frequency, that is frequency of the wave. E is equal to h nu. By comparing these two values, we can write mc square is equal to h nu, that is equal to hc by lambda, where nu is equal to c by lambda. This is nu, not v. h nu, that is hc by lambda. In this equation, m is the mass of photon, c is the velocity of light, h is Planck's constant, and nu is the frequency of wave, and lambda is the wavelength. So what did we get? mc square is equal to hc by lambda. mc square is equal to hc by lambda, where we can change this equation as lambda is equal to h by mc. Here in c square, one c, and in hc this c will be cancelled. This c and one of the c's in mc square will be cancelled, and we can write lambda is equal to h by m into c, or lambda is equal to hc by mc square. This c, one of the c's and c will be cancelled. So lambda is equal to h by m into c. Mass into velocity gives momentum. Momentum is represented by p. So we can write this as h by p. And the same rule is to be applied to electron also, if electron also considered to possess wave nature and particle nature. If electron also considered to be possessed both wave nature and particle nature, the formula which is applied to light can also be extended to the microscopic particle like electron. If this is applied to the microscopic particles like electron, proton, neutron, or even a small ball having a mass m and velocity v, the de Broglie's wavelength is given by lambda is equal to h by momentum. The same equation is taken here. Lambda is equal to h by momentum, that is h by p, that is h by m into v. h by m into v. In the case of light, we consider the velocity of light is c. Here, the velocity of the particle is considered as v. Instead of c, we wrote v. So lambda is equal to h by m into v, where m is the mass of the particle and v is the velocity of the particle. First, the derivation is given for light. Light is considered to be possessed both wave nature and particle nature. By considering them, the lambda of light is calculated in terms of h and momentum, and the same principle is applied to the particles which possess both particle nature and wave nature. And in the case of material particles or matter particles, lambda is equal to h by m into v. Whereas in the case of light, lambda is equal to h by m into c. M into c in the case of light or m into v in the case of material particles denote the momentum. The de Broglie's wavelengths of some particles are calculated. In the case of electron, mass is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kilograms. Velocity of electron is 1.2 into 10 to the power of 5, and wavelength calculated is 6.067 into 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. In the case of helium atom, The mass is 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kilograms. Velocity is, if it is supposed to be moving with a velocity of 1.4 into 10 to 10 cube meters per second, its wavelength will be 0.071 into 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. In the case of a bullet coming from a pistol or a gun, suppose the mass is 5.0 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kilograms, so that is 5 grams. Mass of the bullet is considered as 5 grams, that is 5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kilograms. Suppose the velocity of the bullet is 350 meters per second. The wavelength of that bullet, the bullet travels in the form of wave in air. The wavelength of the bullet is 3.8 into 10 to the power of minus 34. A tennis ball moving in the air. Suppose the mass of the tennis ball is considered as 4 into 10 to the power of minus 2 kilograms, that is 40 grams. And velocity is 25 meters per second. Its wavelength calculated is 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 34 meters. In the case of microscopic particles like electron and helium, the wavelength is in the range of 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. The wavelength is in the range of 10 to the power of minus 10 meters, whereas in the case of macroscopic particles like bullet and tennis ball, the wavelengths are in the range of 10 to the power of minus 34 meters. Very, very, very small. Because of these very small wavelengths, the wave nature of this bullet or tennis ball or a cricket ball can be neglected. Why the wavelengths are neglected for the macroscopic objects? The wavelengths are very, very, very small. Because of that, the wavelengths are, the wave nature of these particles are neglected. Whereas in the case of microscopic particles like electron or helium, the wavelengths are considerable, that is not very, very small. So, in the case of microscopic particles, the wave nature cannot be neglected, but we can neglect the wave nature in the case of macroscopic particles moving in the air or vacuum, as the wavelength is very, very, very small. And the results included in this table indicate that the macroscopic particles have a mass of the order of few grams and traveling with normal speeds. Mass of few grams and traveling with normal speeds. The de Broglie's wavelengths are so small and their measurement is not possible. Because of very, very, very small values of wavelength, the measurement is not possible. According to de Broglie, electrons revolve around the nucleus in the form of stationary wave. How is the electron revolve in the atom? According to de Broglie, the electrons revolve around the nucleus in the form of stationary wave. In such a state, it is said to be in phase. There are two diagrams given here. In this diagram, suppose this is the orbit in which the electron is revolving. Electron is not moving along with this circular path actually. It moves in this path in the form of a wave like this. A wave like this. Suppose this is the crust and this is the trough. This is one wave. This is the crust and this is the trough. And these two together called one wave, a second wave, a third wave, a fourth wave, a fifth wave. There are 5 waves around the circumference. And the end of the fifth wave again joins with the beginning of the first wave. This kind of wave formed is said to be a stationary wave. Observe the wave in the second figure. Suppose this is the beginning. The wave is traveling like this. This is the path of the wave. This is the path of electron. But here, the end of the fourth or fifth wave, let us see the number of waves. 1. This is up to here one wave. Second wave. third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave is not completed. The end of the fifth wave is not coinciding with the beginning of the first wave. This kind of wave is said to be out of phase. This kind of wave is said to be the out of phase, where here the beginning of the first wave and the ending of the last wave in the circular path are coinciding, and this kind of wave formed is said to be a stationary wave. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in the form of stationary waves. Electrons choose only the circular orbits in which the circumference of the circular orbit is integral multiple of wavelength. Here the circumference is 2 pi r is equal to, there are 5 waves, the length of each wave is lambda, 2 pi r is equal to 5 lambda here, but here 2 pi r is equal to 4.5 lambda only. 2 pi r is approximately 4.5 lambda only. This kind of wave is said to be out of phase, where this kind of wave in which the circumference of the circular path is integral multiple of lambda is said to be the stationary wave. So electron revolves around the nucleus in the form of a stationary wave according to de Broglie. Okay. If electron revolves in stationary wave, electron is said to be in phase, then electron gets the stability. Electron gets the stability. Electron revolves without radiating energy only when it forms the stationary wave. If it forms a wave which is not stationary, that is, the circumference is not integral multiple of lambda, that electron cannot revolve without radiating energy, and this kind of circular paths are not permissible for the revolution of electron. Which kind of circular paths are permissible? 2 pi r should be integral multiples of lambda. Only such kind of circular paths are permissible for the revolution of electron. Okay. When the electron is in phase, the circumference of the orbit in which the electron is revolving is integral multiple of the wavelength. That is 2 pi r is equal to n into lambda, or lambda is equal to 2 pi r by n. Lambda is equal to 2 pi r by n. But we know that lambda is equal to h by m into v. De Broglie derived lambda is equal to h by m into v. Both are representing lambda, therefore 2 pi r by n is equal to h by m into v. These two are equal. This is showing lambda and this is also showing lambda. So lambda is equal to 2 pi r by n, that is equal to h by m into v, or mvr is equal to n into h by 2 pi. If this equation is changed, if this m into v is brought to the left side and 2 pi by n is taken to the right side, we get mvr is equal to n into h by 2 pi. This kind of explanation could not be given by Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr suggested that mvr, that is angular momentum of electron in the orbit, is n into h by 2 pi. But he could not explain, or he could not account for this quantization of angular momentum of electrons. Okay, that is one of the drawbacks of the Bohr's theory was overruled by the derivation of this equation mvr is equal to n into h by 2 pi. This is possible only by considering the wave nature of electron. This formula mvr is equal to n into h by 2 pi is in accordance with the Bohr's postulate of angular momentum. The wave character of electrons is used in the development of electron microscope. Electron microscope has a very high magnification of about 15 million. That means it increases the size of the object to 15 million times. It works on the wave character of electron. The normal microscope or the ordinary microscope works on the wave character of light, whereas the electron microscope works on the basis of wave character of electron. It has very high magnification when compared to the ordinary microscope. What would be its magnification? It will be around 15 millions. That is, it increases the size of the object to 15 million times. It increases the size of a peanut to the size of a cricket stadium. Peanut's size may be approximately increased to the size of a cricket stadium. Another important fact which could not be explained by Bohr is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. These subatomic particles have significant wave character. In the case of macroscopic particles, the wave character is negligible. Electron is also a microscopic particle. Since the waves spread out in the space for the microscopic particles, it is not possible to determine accurately the position and velocity of those particles at the same time. The waves spread into the space. Because of that, the position and momentum, that is velocity of such kind of microscopic particles in a specific precision and is not possible simultaneously. This physical limit was first observed by Werner Heisenberg in the year 1927, and he named this as uncertainty principle. Uncertainty principle. Uncertainty means error in finding the value. Uncertainty means the error in finding the correct value, precise value. It states that it is not possible to determine the position and momentum of a small moving particle like electron precisely and simultaneously. If we try to find the position of an electron exactly, the momentum of the particle cannot be found exactly at the same time. If we try to find the momentum of a particle precisely, it is not possible to find its position at the same time. That is, the position and momentum of the small moving particle like electron cannot be found precisely and simultaneously. This is known as Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. He derived an equation to find the uncertainty in position and uncertainty in momentum. Delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi, where delta x is the uncertainty in position and delta p is the uncertainty in momentum. Delta x is the uncertainty in position, that is error in finding the position, and delta p is the uncertainty in momentum. We can write this as delta x into delta p can be written as m into delta v. P is equal to m into v. M will not be changed, only v will be changed, velocity will be changed. So we can write delta x into m into v is greater than h by 4 pi. Or if m is brought to the right side, we can write delta x into delta v is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi m. So uncertainty principle can be written as delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. The product of the uncertainties of the position and momentum of a microscopic particle is always greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. If any attempt is made to decrease this delta x value, delta p value will be increased. The minimum value of the product is h by 4 pi. If we try to, or if we make some attempt to reduce the value of delta x, delta p value will be more. If we make an attempt to decrease the delta p value, delta x value will be more. So it's not possible to minimize both delta x and delta p at the same time. If one is minimized, the other will be maximized. If delta x is minimized, delta p will be maximized. If delta p is minimized, delta x will be maximized. So it's not possible to minimize the errors in finding position and momentum at a time simultaneously is not possible. This physical limit was first observed by Heisenberg in the year 1927. It becomes clear from that the uncertainty will become more pronounced in the case of particles having lower masses, like subatomic particles like electrons and protons. Suppose there is a small particle like electron. In order to watch that electron, a light of certain wavelength is to be fallen on that particle, and that the reflected light should reach our eye or microscope. Then only we can see the electron. This is the wave of light fallen on the electron, and it is reflected on the electron and reaching the microscope, and it can be observed. There is a physical limit for the observation of this electron or the reflection of light. For the reflection of light, the wavelength of light should be smaller than the size of the object. The wavelength of light fallen should be smaller than the size of the object, then only it can be reflected on that object. The normal radiation, that is the visible light, cannot reflect on the electron. A high energetic light is to be fallen on that. And there is a physical limit of observing an object with an error of plus or minus delta. If lambda is the wavelength of light used for observing a particular object, we can find the position of the object with an error of plus or minus lambda. If the object is a macroscopic object, the lambda value will be very small when compared to the size of the object. So the error in finding the position will be negligible. Whereas in the case of microscopic object, the lambda value will be very small compared to the size of the object. If you minimize this lambda value, the energy will be increased. If the lambda value is minimized, the energy will be increased or the momentum will be increased. We know that lambda is equal to h by momentum m into v. If lambda decreases, m into v increases. So that means any attempts made to decrease the value of lambda causes an increase in the momentum, that is increase in the velocity. If the light of a very small wavelength is used, its energy is transferred to the electron and the path of electron is changed. Suppose this is the original path of electron, and this is the expected path. Because of the falling of the radiation of specific wavelength lambda, the position of electron will be deviated. Electron is deviated from its path because of the gaining of energy. Here, delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Here, h is equal to h by 4 pi, not 2 pi, this is h by 4 pi, greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. This is known as Hamiltonian operator. If the delta x value is low, delta p value will be high. Or if delta x value is high, delta p value will be more. We cannot make both delta x and delta p values low at the same time. So the same thing is explained in this figure. When the light is fallen on a particle like an electron, that is a microscopic particle, the reflected light is seen through the microscope, that is scattered photon is seen through the microscope, and here also the scattered light is seen through the microscope. If delta x is low, delta p will be high. If delta x is high, delta p will be low. Delta p is low means wavelength is high. Delta p is low means wavelength is high. Delta p is high means wavelength is low. The reason is momentum is inversely proportional to wavelength. According to the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, we have studied that it is not possible to know the exact position and momentum of a microscopic particle precisely and simultaneously. This is true for electron also. Therefore, it is impossible to describe the exact position of an electron in an atom at a given moment. But according to Bohr, the electron is considered as a particle. It revolves around the nucleus. Bohr calculated the energy and velocity of the electron, and we can predict its exact position in the next moment or in a particular moment, and its velocity also precisely, if electron is considered only to have the particle nature. On the other hand, if the electron is considered to have both particle nature and wave nature, it is not possible to find its position and momentum precisely and simultaneously. So, as we cannot find its position and momentum precisely, it's not correct to talk about the position and velocity of a moving electron in an orbit of fixed radius. Therefore, instead of speaking about the position of electron, we need to depend on the probability of finding electron in the space around the nucleus. As we cannot find its position exactly, we have to satisfy with the probability of finding electron around the nucleus. So from this, it is evident that Bohr's orbits of definite radius do not hold good in the light of the uncertainty principle. Thus, the uncertainty principle suggests that in the atom, the electron doesn't always remain at a fixed distance from the nucleus. If the electron revolves in a circular path, it remains at a fixed distance from the nucleus, but due to uncertainty, it is not moving at a fixed distance. It is moving in the form of a wave. So it keeps moving in whole space around the nucleus, not only on the circular path. The electron cannot be considered as moving on the circular path. It lies in this entire region around the nucleus. But it tends to remain most of its time within small volume around the nucleus, where the probability of finding the electron is maximum. The talking about the position of electron is meaningless with the light of uncertainty principle. Instead of talking about the position of electron, we need to find the probability of finding electron around the nucleus. The probability of electron around the nucleus is maximum at certain spaces around the nucleus, and these spaces around the nucleus are named as orbitals, not the orbits. What is meant by probability? Probability means the chance of occurrence of a particular event is called probability. For example, when a coin is tossed, it may land head or tail. An exact prediction is not possible because the coin has both chances. We may get head, or it lands either with the head up or with the tail up. So the probability of having head is 50%, that is 0.5. The probability of having tail is also 0.5. This doesn't mean that if that coin is tossed 100 times, we exactly get head 50 times and toss 50 times. The probability is 50 times means there is a chance to get the head 50 times if the coin is tossed 100 times. So this kind of probability is to be considered in finding the position of electron around the nucleus. Electron spends most of its time in a certain region. In that region, the probability of finding electron will be more, and this region is termed as orbital instead of Bohr's orbits. Let us continue this in the next class. Thank you.